those giant lakes they have up there.
I've been there and I've seen the lakes. I just haven't seen the mountains.
Okay. It's 43 degrees here, so it is 12 degrees warmer here, and very warm because I just turned on the space heater underneath this desk. Sorry, Joey. He hates when I do that.
She gets it so hot here, my feet are burning up, I'm telling you.
Well, is that because you just want Caribbean temperature?
Oh, why would we be talking about the Caribbean? There is somebody that's going to be experiencing some Caribbean temperatures later today.
That's right. Yeah. President Biden heading to St. Croix, to the Virgin Islands, to escape the mounting crises, the U.S. troops being attacked in the Middle East, the southern border, which is on fire, and, of course, possible impeachment looming as the House looks like they're moving forward on the inquiry. And to be fair to the president, he has gone for many years to the St. Croix to ring in the new year. It's just, it's that age-old question, and other presidents have faced it. You know, when is the situation for the country in dire enough, cases that maybe you shouldn't be seen? Maybe it's a bad look to be on a beach in the Caribbean, a luxury that many Americans and us right now can't afford while these things are happening, particularly the border and overseas in the Middle East.
Yeah, I don't mind somebody going on vacation, taking the time they need. At his age, he needs more time. That's not a hit against him. It's true. He needs to rest. But I think he's over 400 days or close to 400 days of vacation so far in this term. That far surpasses President Trump in his entire first term. It surpasses President Obama in both of his terms. And so if you're going to take a vacation, maybe make sure the house isn't burning before you leave it, you know?
Yeah, so you're right, Joey. This is, he's already spent 411 days on vacation. Former President Trump spent 381 days his entire first term. Obama even less, only 328 days over 2 terms. Although I say only, that's a lot of vacation for just 4 years. I mean, we certainly don't get that. And that's the thing. I mean, this is a great time of year. The week between Christmas and the New Year's is such an awesome time because most people just get to hang out. But the president isn't most people. And this happens every single year where there is some major event that takes place and then the president is off to vacation. He did the same thing last year. There was a big snowstorm and he got all the negative headlines for it. I was speaking to one woman. She was a Israeli-American citizen. And she said, this was a couple weeks ago, that she doesn't think the president should take vacation until every single American hostage is returned home. And I thought that was a great idea. That idea goes beyond politics, but politically as well. Imagine that statement saying, I'm not going to go on vacation. I'm going to work for these Israeli-American citizens. These American citizens are being held hostage. I won't sleep until they are back home.
Well, I think he's going to sleep. I think he's going to rest. I think he's going to spend some time in the Caribbean. But I guess he needs to worry about what comes next when he gets back from vacation.
Well, he's facing impeachment.
Yeah, an impeachment inquiry that now Republicans in Congress are starting to talk about impeachment itself. So to take people back here, what Republicans have not done a great job of explaining is that impeachment inquiry, really their messaging has been that this is their investigative tool, regardless if they want to impeach him or not. If they want to get some of the answers they really need that the Justice Department seems to have fallen flat on, they need to start this inquiry to move those levers and have that mechanism. But one of the ones leading the charge, Representative James Comer, had this to say about what may come next.
I think most Americans realize that something stinks here. Most Americans realize that we've provided bank statements as hard evidence, statements that show the Bidens have received well over $20 million from our enemies around the world, and they can't answer a simple question: what did you do to receive the money? They also know that Joe Biden stated during the campaign he never met with any of these people who sent his family money, and that he had a wall between the government and his family's shady business scheme. We know that he communicated with every single person that he said he never met with that sent his family millions and millions of dollars around the world. So the American people know something stinks here, and that's going to be a problem for Joe Biden moving forward. Not only are his policies a disaster, but the American people think he's a crook.
Yeah, those are pretty direct words there. In other words, what he's saying is, as they get information here, he believes that the American people are going to see that our president has taken money in either an unlawful or unethical way. And I think that's just something, let's sit for a second and think about that. That as a leading member of Congress, someone who is partisan but is leading in a really important effort, saying, hey, listen, I think this president is so corrupt that we're going to be able to prove it, and it's going to be a big deal.
There's been calls that this is a fool's errand. right? Critics say that this is just tit for tat because Trump was impeached. Now the Republicans are going after him. And what Comer's laying out there, he's the chairman of the Oversight Committee, right? Remember, they subpoenaed, they called Hunter Biden up there. He didn't do the deposition. Instead, he held a press conference. In that press conference, he said a lot of things, which a lot of defense lawyers said he shouldn't have said. But the one thing you didn't hear from Hunter Biden, and what James Comer keeps hitting on, is you didn't hear Hunter say, my dad didn't benefit. And Americans have grown frustrated with this pay-for-play scheme it appears that this family, led by Joe Biden, has been doing for years. And that is why they consistently stay and move forward on it. It's not his policy on the border or his policy in the Middle East or any other policy for that matter. It's really the focus on really what this family has done and have they benefited politically as a result.
Yeah, so all of that is going to play out in 2024. And then you have Donald Trump on the other side, of course, with his 91 federal indictments. So there'll be dueling court cases involving the Biden family and Donald Trump. Back to President Biden being on vacation starting today. Again, I understand that, the people all go on vacation. This is always the criticism that takes place. But there is a lot that's going on this week and right now where the president could have said maybe now is not the time, especially when it comes to, like you were just talking about, foreign policy. Iran nuclear weapons is a big headline this morning. Iran just tripled its production of nearly weapons-grade uranium. They're at 60% purity right now. 90% is weapons grade. And to put that into perspective, the Iran nuclear deal of 2015 capped uranium enrichment at 3.67%. So maybe that's another reason why the president should stay home, even if it's just optics. They always say, you could work when you're on vacation, but just optically, it would be better, I think, right now for the president to be in the White House.
If I were the president's advisor, I would walk in there and say, Mr. President, you're the commander-in-chief. You have an American critically wounded. If he dies or any other in these repeated attacks, that's the red line. A dead American has always been the red line.
And there's one in critical condition right now.
There's one in critical condition. That's why you don't get on a plane and head to the Caribbean when you've got a critically injured American with an increase. Look, you know this better than anybody. Those that do us harm, in this case the Houthis that keep unleashing 100+ attacks, they are not listening to what America says. They're watching what America does. And nothing we've done has deterred it. So with increasing attacks coming and with an American critically injured, this is why you don't get on that airplane, because this can change and escalate fairly quickly.
Yeah, what you guys are talking about is optics. It looks bad, but I think what really is being seen here that we're not talking about is if he's going on vacation, that means he believes there's not work for him to do on these topics, which is probably much worse than just if he doesn't care.
There's a whole lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And still ahead, developing this morning, shock and sadness as a pregnant teen, Savannah Soto, who's been missing since Friday, is found dead in Texas. A live report coming up on what the police chief is calling a perplexing crime scene.
Plus, Biden officials head to Mexico as tens of thousands of migrants pour across the border over the holiday weekend. Brandon Judd weighs in.
Be dead after authorities found two bodies in a car outside a apartment complex in San Antonio. Her name is Savannah Soto. She was 9 months pregnant and a week past her due date, according to family. Authorities did not specifically confirm the identities of the deceased, but family sources confirmed the identities to our affiliate in San Antonio. Soto disappeared before she was scheduled to be induced. Here's her grandmother.
She was a good girl. She didn't deserve to go this way, especially with her baby. He was an innocent child. Nobody deserved this.
According to our affiliate, Soto's boyfriend Matthew Guerra was on a probation for assaulting her last Christmas, 2022. Court records show he could have contact with her as long as it wasn't in any harmful manner. He was due in court January 9th. According to local police, the bodies were believed to be there for several days in the car.
What we're looking at right now is a very, very perplexing crime scene. And detectives right now are looking at this as a possible murder. But we don't know for sure. So again, because of the complexity, the complex crime scene, we can't say for sure.
And the search for Soto and her boyfriend went on for days. Her family became concerned after she passed her delivery date and missed an important doctor's appointment. She was supposed to be induced over the weekend, according to reports. Local police continue to look for more information to solve this terrible crime. Any information, you can always reach out to the San Antonio Police Department, and you can remain anonymous. The authorities just want the information. Back to you.
Now, this is so sad, happening at a time when she and her family should be the most happy because of the delivery of her child, which never ended up happening. David, live for us in Washington, D.C. Thank you so much. We have some more headlines to get to, starting with this. A man from Indiana is recovering after he was trapped in his wrecked car for 6 days. State police say he crashed his car last week and ended up near the water by the interstate, with no way to reach a cell phone or call for help. 2 men scouting fishing locations off the highway came across the wreck yesterday and found that man alive.
It looked like he was really fighting to be there, to stay around. He didn't want to go.
For me, it was the first time going there. So, it was just, we were put there for a reason.
State police say he had to drink rainwater to survive. Wow. A group of pro-Palestinian doctors are apologizing after scheduling a, quote, call for action at the United States Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C. Doctors Against Genocide canceled the event after receiving backlash on social media. The group responding to criticism saying, quote, the goal of our event was to visit the Holocaust Museum to express our empathy for the horrors of that genocide. The group claims they were inspired by the Holocaust Museum's initiative to prevent genocide. And even Tommy DeVito's dad says he was, quote, a little perplexed that his son was benched during the Giants' Christmas Day loss to the Eagles. Coach Brian Daboll putting Tommy Cutlets on the sideline at halftime after the team only had 3 points on the board. But the quarterback says there's no hard feelings.
It's just a constant reminder that it's a business. I mean, they're always going to try to find someone to replace you, whatever it is. But the same day, it is a business. It's your job. I respect it. There's no feelings one way or another. Listen, I was hoping Ty was going to go out there and ball, and we would win the game.
Just a few weeks ago, DeVito was being called the Italian hero after leading New York to a series of victories. The Giants will try to get back to their winning ways when they play the Los Angeles Rams on New Year's Eve. Coverage starts at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, only on Fox. Those are your headlines, Griff. Over to you.
Win or lose, he's still going to get those chicken cutlets.
Yeah, he's the Italian hero in my book, always.
All right. Well, today, immigration on the agenda. Secretary of State Blinken and DHS Secretary Mayorkas heading to Mexico for a high-stakes meeting with Mexico's President Obrador. It was a record Christmas, by the way, at the border, with more than 35,000 migrants crossing illegally over the 4-day holiday weekend and more than 730,000 since October 1st. Our next guest says Biden's policies are to blame. National Border Patrol Council President Brandon Judd joining us. Brandon, let's go right to this meeting. Now, it's going to be Blinken, Mayorkas, and the White House's sort of border national security advisor, Liz Sherwood Randall. But if you were there, what would you say to Obrador? What would be your insight?
The first thing that we have to look at is you used a phrase, fool's errand, a little earlier, and that's exactly what this is going to be. We're setting ourselves up for failure because we're expecting another country to fix our problems, and they're never going to do it. It all comes down to incentive. Does the Mexican government have incentive to stop this illegal immigration that's taking place? And they don't, because they're generating billions of dollars for their own economy. So if I were there, I would look at, what is it that they could do to help us, and why would they want to? But my fear right now is that they're going to try to extract concessions from us, whether that's in monetary, whether that's easing sanctions on Venezuela. There's a lot of different things that the Mexican government wants us to do. So they're going to try to extract those concessions for them to be true border security partners. And that just doesn't help us. We've got to look at what the solutions are right here in the United States. We have those solutions. This administration just doesn't want to exercise their authority to stop this.
Brendan, it's interesting. The leader of this caravan you're looking at, Luis Villagran, he said to a reporter that's following it that this meeting, talking about the Blinken, Mayorkas, and Obrador meeting, will, quote, be between fools and fools who want to use women and children as trading pieces. We are not trading pieces. What Mexico wants is money. And that's essentially what you're saying.
Yeah, and that's...
Go ahead.
That's exactly what they want. They do want money. The Mexican government wants to generate profit. They want their economy to succeed. And if you look at the cartels, the cartels are generating billions of dollars for the Mexican economy. So all of this chaos that we see that's hurting our country is helping the Mexican government. And so that's the reason why they're not going to become true border security partners. I have to go back to the Trump administration and look at what is it that they did right. And what they did was they threatened tariffs that were greater than the amount of money that these cartels were able to bring in. And that's why Mexico during the Trump era was willing to actually step to the plate and do what was necessary to stop all of this illegal immigration through their own country. But unless we're willing to give them something, they're not going to do anything, or unless we come from a position of power. And that's what I don't think that Blinken and Mayorkas is going to do. I do not believe that they are going to come with the big stick and tell them, if you don't do something, we're going to start using our power to go back and force you to become true border security partners. There's just no incentive for the Mexican government to do anything.
That's such an important point, Brandon. The big stick is bringing back Remain in Mexico, which migrants don't like, and that's why they stopped coming, and economic consequences on Mexico for not doing anything about it. But if the administration, if Mayorkas and Blinken are not willing to bring that big stick, what's the point of this meeting?
There is no point. But so let me take that back. The point is the optics here in the United States and the mainstream media. The mainstream media is always going to give them a pass as long as they show that they're trying to do something. But in reality, again, let's go back to that phrase. It's a fool's errand. This administration knows that by sending them down there, they're going to get the mainstream media to say, oh, look, they're doing something. They're doing something. When in reality, nothing is going to change unless we force them to become true border security partners, or unless this administration uses the authority that they have right now to secure the border on our side of the border.
National Border Patrol Council President Brandon Judd, always great insight from you, Brandon, and we will see what happens in this meeting and talk about it and see if it does anything to knock down this unprecedented surge that we've never seen at our border. Brandon, thank you very much.
Thank you, Griff.
In a Fox News alert,